Arthur Williams, a master of tricks, amazed everyone with his ability to create countless fake bills and then disappear without a trace. Together with his teenage son, they embarked on a thrilling adventure filled with mysteries, investigations, and the incredible task of copying the $1 bill. But how did Arthur end up on this path? It all started when he was just a young boy facing tough times. In an effort to help his struggling mother, Arthur resorted to breaking into car park counters. One day, frustrated by their poverty, he vandalized a counter and unexpectedly discovered a rare treasure of coins. This sparked an idea to claim the money for himself. After unlocking the counter, he used the coins to buy essential items. However, when he confessed to his mother, she was disappointed and disapproved of his actions. Their financial struggle was a result of his father's abandonment, which deeply affected Arthur. His resentment towards his father fueled his determination to improve their circumstances. In 1987, at 15 years old, he met Da Vinci, an older man who had a secret relationship with his mother. Arthur got arrested for attempting to steal a car, but Da Vinci bailed him out and advised him to pursue smarter methods of robbery. Da Vinci took Arthur to an old warehouse, revealing a workshop filled with machines and paper. Curious, Arthur asked about the place, and Da Vinci simply told him to follow along. They started working with the machines and tools, with Arthur handling papers and ink. To his surprise, he realized that Da Vinci was printing counterfeit money right before his eyes. This revelation left Arthur stunned as he witnessed the production of money that everyone desired. Da Vinci taught Arthur the entire printing process, including color mixing, mold creation, and assigning unique serial numbers to each bill. Arthur admired the artistic side of the operation and developed a strong bond with Da Vinci, considering him a father figure and idol. He was delighted by the increasing wealth he obtained through printing money. With Da Vinci's support, after nearly a year, Da Vinci disappeared from Arthur's life. He stopped visiting Arthur's house and the workshop remained locked. This abandonment, coupled with the absence of his biological father, left Arthur in immense pain. Feeling lost, he made the mistake of rejoining his old gang and resuming their theft operations. However, Arthur's life took a new turn when he had a relationship that led to the birth of his son, Arthur III, at the age of 17. Determined not to repeat the cycle of abandonment, Arthur decided to take care of his son and his son's mother. To provide for them, Arthur and his friends devised a new scheme to earn money. They began stealing from drug dealers, disguising themselves as police officers, and using a car that resembled a police vehicle. Being familiar with the local drug dealers, they targeted individuals they believed carried drugs, conducting fake raids to confiscate cash and drugs under the guise of being the police. This practice was not uncommon at the time, as corruption within the police force was well known. Arthur and his friends repeated this operation for a while until they encountered a dangerous situation. During one such attempt, they confronted a drug dealer whose gang members were nearby. Instead of surrendering, the dealer called for backup, leading to a violent shootout between Arthur's gang and the dealer's associates. Fleeing from the shootout, Arthur ran until he was shot in the leg, causing him to lose consciousness. When he woke up in the hospital, he realized his gang had abandoned him, leaving him to bleed until the ambulance arrived. This terrifying incident compelled him to leave Chicago and relocate to Texas in 1993. Despite having to leave his son and the boy's mother behind, Arthur was determined to start anew and live an honorable life. He took up challenging, low-paying jobs and persevered in his pursuit of change. In Texas, he met Natalie, fell in love, and eventually married her. Feeling secure with Natalie, he confided in her about his criminal past, including thefts and counterfeiting. Contrary to Arthur's expectations, Natalie didn't reject him upon learning about his criminal past. Instead, she saw potential in his skills and encouraged him to return to counterfeiting, but this time for their own benefit. Natalie convinced Arthur that they could live a wealthy life by printing high-quality counterfeit money. Arthur acquired printing machines and started practicing and refining his work based on what he learned from Da Vinci. He prioritized producing only top-notch counterfeit bills. Gradually, Arthur began printing small quantities of counterfeit money, aware that spending it posed greater challenges than printing it. He remembered the lesson from Da Vinci that despite the difficulty in distinguishing between counterfeit and genuine money, spending it carried inherent risks. Arthur aimed to increase the quantity of counterfeit money, but encountered a challenge in 1996 when the U.S. government introduced new $100 bills with enhanced security features. These features included visible watermarks, angle-dependent ink, UV reactive security tape, the Federal Reserve System seal, and microprinting, making it extremely difficult to replicate. However, Instead of being discouraged, Arthur saw it as an exciting challenge and an opportunity to establish his own path. He embraced digital technologies like Photoshop, which were not available during Da Vinci's time, to design counterfeit bills. The first step for Arthur was acquiring printing paper identical to that used by the Federal Reserve, as cashiers could easily verify the authenticity of the paper using a simple trick. To verify the authenticity of the paper, Arthur used a special pen that left a yellow line on the genuine paper, while on regular paper it left a brown line. The unique paper contained a blend of cotton, linen, and specific chemicals, making it challenging to acquire. Arthur and Natalie tirelessly ordered various types of paper from around the world, conducting countless tests, but all efforts failed. Frustration grew and Arthur felt desperate. However, Natalie refused to let him give up. She grabbed a phone book, drew a line on it, and the line turned out to be yellow. They were elated and realized the company printing the phone books had the desired paper. Natalie impersonated a teacher, claiming a project with her students required that particular paper, and successfully tracked down the company. When Natalie contacted the company that printed phone books, they unknowingly granted her access to the desired paper. Arthur was impressed with its quality, as it closely resembled genuine money when layered together. They realized they could incorporate the watermark and security tape between the two sheets of this paper. The remaining challenge was the color-changing ink. One day, Arthur noticed a car with paint that changed color between purple and green, resembling the color-shifting feature on the $100 bill. He reached out to the car paint manufacturer and discovered they also produced ink for the U.S. government to print money. They had found the source they needed. With everything prepared, paper, ink, and designs, the only step remaining was the printing process, which required specialized machinery to achieve the desired creamy green color. Arthur and Natalie successfully executed the printing process, pressing the watermark, security tape, image, seal, and serial number onto the counterfeit bills. They even developed a program to assign serial numbers automatically. Arthur's meticulous efforts made him one of the greatest money forgers in U.S. history. The replicated bills were indistinguishable from genuine currency. Natalie decided to test it by making a small purchase of $10 at a supermarket and paying with a counterfeit $100 bill. The cashier followed standard procedure, checking the bill's authenticity. He used the special pen, which produced a yellow line, observed the color-changing ink, and held the bill to the light. Arthur and Natalie successfully passed the authenticity check at the supermarket, sparking their counterfeit money operation. They printed and spent around $50,000 per month, practicing caution while using counterfeit bills. Engaging in money laundering, they strategically acquired clean money through their purchases. Their wealth grew rapidly, allowing them to fulfill their desires and engage in charitable acts. In 2000, Arthur made the choice to return to his hometown of Chicago, accompanied by Natalie. Arthur had been providing for his son and his son's mother, but he hadn't seen his son in a long time. When they finally reunited, Arthur showered his son with toys, clothes, and everything he desired, strengthening their bond. Arthur also reconnected with his old friends, sharing his new business venture of printing money and showcasing flawless counterfeit bills. Impressed, he invited his friends to join him, leveraging their networks in restaurants, nightclubs, and casinos for money laundering. The FBI took notice of their high-quality counterfeit money, considering it the best in the market. Arthur's printing capacity far exceeded the amount of money he could spend, leading him to work with gangs to sell his counterfeit bills for a fraction of their face value. Despite the risks involved, Arthur took extra precautions to protect himself. Arthur became increasingly paranoid and cautious, always on the lookout for surveillance devices and carrying a detector when meeting others. He dealt with Russian gangs, the Italian mafia, and various criminals. In 2002, he attended a party organized by a Russian gang where he brought a suitcase filled with counterfeit money to hand over. However, during the party, the police raided his hotel room, mistakenly believing they were drugs present. They discovered the suitcase of counterfeit money, leading to Arthur's arrest. Realizing the severity of the situation, Arthur feared that the discovery of the counterfeit money would result in more severe legal consequences than drug possession. Arthur's lawyer uncovered flaws in the police report, resulting in the dismissal of his case. However, fearing FBI surveillance, he resolved to abandon illegal activities and cut ties with gangs. Seeking a fresh start, he tracked down his estranged father in Alaska, leading to an emotional meeting where conflicting emotions of happiness and resentment resurfaced. Arthur and his father developed a close relationship, with his father asking for forgiveness and sharing his own struggles. His father, facing financial difficulties, requested Arthur's help in printing money. Although hesitant due to his previous arrest, Arthur's desire to please his father outweighed his fear. They set up a printing workshop in Alaska, but the quality of the counterfeit money was lower than before. Arthur and his father disagreed on the secrecy of their counterfeiting activities. His father shared the secret with his wife and neighbors, who spent the counterfeit money without laundering it. Arthur sensed something was amiss and decided to stop printing money and leave Alaska. He informed his father of his decision, and his father allowed him to go as he had learned the printing process and intended to continue on his own. Arthur's departure from Alaska turned out to be advantageous for him. The couple who received the counterfeit money spent it without suspicion, leading to their arrest when the cashier identified it. They became police informants, and with their help, authorities apprehended Arthur's father and his wife. A niece, Arthur's stepmother, revealed details about Arthur's involvement in the counterfeiting operation. However, when the FBI and Special Forces raided Arthur's home in Texas, he had taken precautions and hidden the counterfeit money in plastic cans buried in the woods, leaving no evidence behind. Arthur was ultimately arrested due to his stepmother's testimony. His father received a 5-year prison sentence, while Arthur was sentenced to 3 years. Despite being the mastermind, Arthur's sentence was reduced because his father's arrest disrupted the operation. During his 2.5 years in prison, Arthur faced challenges, including separation from his son and wife. This experience prompted him to make a firm decision to leave a life of crime behind. On his release, he received the devastating news of his father's passing, which added to his emotional burden. Despite his difficult upbringing, Arthur was determined to embark on a new chapter in his life. After his father's death, Arthur's love for him remained strong. He focused on rebuilding his life in Chicago and reconnecting with his 15-year-old son, Arthur III. Arthur took on various low-paying jobs, such as a waiter and a bathroom cleaner, to provide for his son and his son's mother. Although he still had buried counterfeit money, he was determined not to use it, fearing the consequences. Repairing his relationship with his son became a priority, and they successfully reconciled. In 2005, Arthur's remarkable story as the world's greatest money forger was featured in Rolling Stone magazine, capturing his son's attention as he read the article. In a moment of disbelief, Arthur's son confronted his father about the Rolling Stone's article, questioning if he had truly forged over $10 million. His father admitted to the immense sum, possibly even more. This revelation deeply affected his son, who decided to experiment with counterfeiting using his own printer in his room. When Arthur's ex-partner discovered their son's actions, she immediately notified Arthur, who felt guilty and ashamed. Rushing home, Arthur confronted his son in his room, finding him printing a $20 bill. Their voices escalated into a heated argument, with the son struggling with drug use and psychological troubles, grabbing the printed money and fleeing from the house. Then the son angrily threw the counterfeit money at Arthur. Unfortunately, a passing police car witnessed the commotion and intervened. Arthur quickly collected the money, assuring the officer that it was just a minor conflict with his son. However, the officer checked Arthur's identity, called for backup, and soon the FBI arrived at the scene. Arthur was arrested, handcuffed, and taken to an FBI facility. There, a senior officer recognized the counterfeit money in Arthur's possession, raising suspicions about his continued illegal activities. Arthur received a 9-year prison sentence for counterfeiting, while his son spent time in a juvenile detention center and distanced himself from his family. Despite the despair, Arthur continued counterfeiting until a 2009 raid by the FBI resulted in his arrest. When Arthur's father learned about his son's imprisonment for money forgery, he felt a deep sense of guilt. Arthur requested to be transferred to his son's prison, and after a month, the request was granted. They formed a strong bond during their time together, discussing their aspirations and plans for the future. Arthur, who had a passion for art, started working in the artistic field after his release in 2015. His artworks, inspired by his life and forgery experience, incorporated security features for money. His paintings became highly valued, selling for $40,000 to $50,000 each. Arthur's life transformed completely, shifting from counterfeiting to creating meaningful art. The story conveys the message that individuals can achieve success when their skills and abilities are channeled effectively. With that said, thank you for watching. Be sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you found this content helpful, give the video a like. We'll see you in the next video. Till then, take care.